Zell and Tony are going to be running the workshop in which you have the opportunity to see an example of audio description. You then have the opportunity to see a short film which I'll introduce to you at that time, called Tango Underpants. Yes, it's is what it says on the box. But I hope you enjoy it and have some fun. And then we're going to encourage as many of you as we have time for, and certainly hopefully about 5 or so of you at least, to do a minute of that short film in an audio description yourself. So if you think you might be up for it, just get your courage together or get your sense of fun and spirit. And for now, I'm handing over to Zell and to Tony. So here's one microphone, Zell, and we're getting the other one for you, Tony.
Tony, just in front of you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, we're not expecting you to be professionals, so give it a go and, just have fun with it. Even if we do laugh, it's not really, don't take it personally.
Yes, we are laughing at you, yes.
Okay, so let's get this show on the road. We're going to start with a little short film from Julia Hales. She is quite a well-known actress now, especially in WA. And Julia has done a film called Finding Love, and there's quite the audio describer. It has been audio described by a lovely lady called Brigida Desabrook. She's one of our best audio describers, I would say, in the whole country, but I haven't experienced the other states, but she's very good. And so we're going to listen to her. She will be doing a little preamble before to describe, the people that are in the film and what they're wearing, etc. And then, so we'll watch a little bit of the show as well, so that you can get an idea of how audio description works.
Thanks, Zell.
Digital Dialogues, 2016. Finding Love, a film by Julia Hales, is titled on the left, while on the right there is an image of a smiling Julia holding a large video camera on her right shoulder. Julia is a girl in her 30s with shoulder-length brown hair and glasses. She wears a light blue cardigan over a patterned blue and white dress. The interviews are conducted with Julia sitting in a studio with a host of recording equipment behind her. The images swap from Julia posing the questions to images of her friends answering them. Julia herself answers some of the questions. Tina Fielding has long brown hair, is in her 20s and is wearing a simple sleeveless red shift dress. Tina smiles a lot and expresses herself with exuberant hand movements. Patrick Carter, a large man also in his 20s, wears a grey polo shirt and has a shaved head and a beard. He is quite composed, but does put out his arm to emphasize a point. Lauren Marchbank is a girl in her 20s with long blonde hair and wearing a loose denim waistcoat over a dark pink t-shirt. She is very composed.
Can you tell me what love means to you?
Tina replies.
To me, to fall in love with someone is like a spark. For me, my eyes is almost red. It means I can act too quickly to the guys. So I'm sick of love.
Patrick replies.
Sometimes I can't think properly, I can't learn how. I need help.
It means I love Mum, it means I love my family. It means like being in a relationship with someone.
Lauren replies.
Love is in everyone. It's in me, but I never really know how to express it. But through hugs, through smiling at someone who I don't know, or if they don't know me.
Can you tell me about a time when you were in love?
My mum.
Okay, I've paused that, thank you.
Okay, before we get started on the other project, does anyone have any thoughts, any comments about that audio description? Anything that strikes them?
Well spoken.
Okay.
Well spoken. By who?
The describer.
Yep.
What do you mean by well spoken?
Good English.
Articulate.
Articulate. Mm-hmm.
on a second. We need the microphones across. Tony, can I take yours?
You can borrow mine, yeah.
Okay. Who was speaking first? Annette?
It didn't say any. Well, maybe I wasn't listening, but I don't think it said much about the characteristics of the people. You know, whether they were tall, short, that sort of stuff. Did I miss that?
No, you did.
Oh, good.
You didn't.
Other comments? I think Jerry just behind you.
I would have thought that a lot of the dialogue might have been hard to understand. Sighted users can see that there are captions there, but vision impaired users who can't read the captions may have trouble understanding what the dialogue actually was.
Just on what you were saying, Annette, that actually is a good point because it relates to the relevance of what's being audio described. So what you said about the height and maybe what their facial features look like, I think that might have been considered not to be relevant for the purpose of the show, which is interesting because you just said, oh, I would have liked to know what they actually look like physically. So the relativity is actually very subjective.
Also, certain things, simple things such as Tina replies, well, that's a redundant thing. You know,
yeah, I was going to say that. All
Just-
she needed to say there was actually Tina.
just Tina, just that's all you need to know. And so these are the things all about brevity, keeping your answers short, sweet, and to the point, and still entertaining, of course. You know.
All right, so now it's over to you. I hope you all have a pen and paper. Oh, you might have a laptop, sorry. Of course. Or an iPad, or whatever way you want to write. So we're going to play Tango Underpants. Actually, Tanya, did you want to talk about the movie first? Sorry. So while you're getting ready, Tanya's going to explain Tango Underpants, what it's all about and things like that.
Hopefully it gives you a bit of a laugh for the afternoon. So Tango Underpants is a short film that was funded in 2012 and it was part of a Screen West crowdfunding initiative. And basically Screen West ended up saying if you can it had some innovation funding to try and encourage audiences to connect and fund short films and to leverage the funding that was available. I still think it was one of the most clever things that have been done. And we managed to raise $26,000 in 24 hours from 220 people towards this film. That meant that, there was a bit of buzz around it because there were 23 different projects going out into the marketplace at the same time. And the Tango Underpants, or I shouldn't say anymore, the undies, a pair of the undies that are rather larger that some of you might be describing later, was worn by one of our producers into the ABC studio on radio over his jeans. So that probably got a bit of discussion going on in the community to talk about it. But so we ended up making this film, which is a 14-minute short film, including the credits, and it's available. You can watch it online after today in all its glory with all its beautiful music. And there was a lovely story around it. Basically, just quickly, it came about because the Australian writer John Colley, who wrote Master and Commander and Happy Feet, was coming down on a train from Paris to Cannes to the film festival and read a short story from a book of Lonely Planet short stories called Brief Encounter, which is a bit kind of ironic given the Tango Underpants. And these short stories had been commissioned from travel writers as well as from readers or users of the Lonely Planet guides after September 11 to try 9/11, sorry, to try and overcome the notion of stranger danger and talk about a moment in time where a person had changed your life or had an influence, a brief encounter with somebody had changed your life. And he became fascinated by this lovely little short story written by a woman from Canberra. He then, at lunchtime over Too Much Rosé, told us the story. I think I came up with the title, which I don't remember doing, and which ended up with Miranda Edmonds and Crob Edmonds, who are two West Australian directors, brother and sister directing team, directing it. And John Colley went away and 3 days later came back with a script for it. And so we shot it in Buenos Aires, and I hope you enjoy it. The beautiful Emma Booth, who is a West Australian actor, now internationally renowned and based in LA, she is the lead in it. So I'll hand it over. Oh, sorry. And what we're going to do is we're just going to show 1 minute excerpts, and then we're going to see if any of you would like to, because I don't know that we've got time to go through the whole film. And then ask you to, so it's a bit of a tease really, then you can go and watch the real thing. Then Tom's agreed he'll do the first one, and then if any of you would like to do after the first minute, you're more than welcome. We'd love you to do it. Thank you.
Brace yourself.
Just so you know, Tony and I saw the movie, but we don't have any idea what really went on. So
particularly.
So we're relying on you.
Yeah, I wouldn't allow anyone to audio describe it. You're in a lucky situation though. This is a really lovely soundscape, good music, and very minimal dialogue. And so, go for it. Give us what you've got.
Okay, so
go, Tom.
We'll play the first minute and then invite Tom up, and rather than play the whole thing. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
About travelling, but I knew this. A girl needs sensible undies.
Tom. Sorry, you got a bit more than a minute there.
No, there's a minute.
Being part of the Perth Fest, we felt you could handle it.
Deep end.
Yeah, totally.
Apologies in advance. Okay. We begin with a close-up of a woman's bottom wearing comfortable white underpants. She's standing over her bed as she prepares her luggage, which is very neatly laid out on the bed. The motion speeds up as she eats something, and eats a cracker and drops it onto the plate. Credits appear in the top left-hand corner, announcing that the film was made in association with Screen West and Lottery West, starring Emma Booth as a small handheld vacuum cleaner enters and vacuums crumbs from the bed. The action speeds up again as the woman...
I didn't know much about travelling, but I knew this.
Sorry.
A girl needs sensible undies.
Packs her bag, and underpants, sensible underpants, appear on the top of the bag as she zips and clasps the bag. We cut to her standing with her backpack. She seems very rehearsed in her preparations. The credit appears Tango in cursive script and then underpants in capital letters.
Well done. I'm sure you've had some practice, Tom. That was really good.
I've seen it a few times before.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad you went first then. Don't take Tom's standards, okay? He's seen the movie already. All right, who else wants to have another go?
Before you do that, thing to remember when you're audio describing, at least on our side of the ocean. Try to refrain from commenting on cuts and edits and things like that. You've got to try to keep the blind audience as much into the immersive experience as possible. When you start saying zooming in, zooming out, cutting, whatever, you begin to lose that. But other than that, that was great.
Yep, I think Jerry's next.
Come on up.
Yay. This is good.
I'm happy to just launch into it.
Excellent. It's a good sport.
Our hero, go for it.
Do you want to stand there? We'll actually just...
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Up to the microphone, please. If it stands upright. All right. Mitch, can you just check the level for us? Are we all right? Jerry, just speak.
Hello, hello. Or are we playing the film or not?
Are we good? All right.
Okay.
Okay, items are on a bed.
No, you're doing the next minute. You're doing the next
What?
minute. You're doing the next minute.
Continuity glitch. Yep.
I don't know if I watched this bit. I don't know if I saw it.
So would you like to watch it first, Jerry? and
Yeah,
then
probably.
Not so brave.
I thought it was very brave. I thought that was really brave of Jerry.
Yeah.
It was. I was waiting for him to fall on his face, but hey.
Sorry. I don't think I understood the question. I don't think I'm that good.
Tony, I'll roll 1 minute. Yep, Tony and Zell.
Okay, there's text on screen 3 months later. Camera pans to a road. There are 2 trucks on the road. First one is a van. Woman
After
is
the
sleeping on the
breakup, I
truck
had to get
with
away.
her head against the window. The truck passes a pig.
South America. Seemed like a good idea.
The truck slams to a stop. The woman wakes. Lots of people start boarding the bus. One of them has a bird in a cage who sits in front of the woman who was asleep. She looks pensively. She starts wearing headphones and falls asleep again against the side of the bus as it takes off and continues up the road. The truck blows a lot of smoke. Hasn't taken climate change into account.
Okay. That is the advantage of when you watch it first and then you can audio describe it. You've got cue moments for when you don't try to argue with the dialogue, which is pretty much an audio describer's nightmare, is the argument. But other than that, yeah, pretty good.
I think we'll let you off with this one.
Yep.
Given that you've never seen the film before and you were doing it off the cuff, I think it was a bloody good job.
Yeah.
Well done.
Another volunteer? Yes.
All right, we've got Matthew Zell. Yeah. Hello.
Lovely. Thanks, Matthew. The next victim.
Sure.
So, Matthew, would you like to watch the minute first, or would you like to audio describe on the spot?
Let's go on the spot.
Good on you.
Okay. All right. When you're ready. All right, let's go. You see a bench in the middle of the night. The dog is just woken up. It is looking to be a train station mid at night as the woman waits. She looks eagerly bored. She begins knocking on the window of the ticket booth. No one is there. She is frustrated. Walks away from the ticket booth. Starts beginning wandering around the train station. Is walking down a corridor with arches. Yes. We begin a sign saying Royal Hotel in the middle of nowhere. Looks to be dusk. She is asleep in her bed, likely in the hotel. Begins to wake up to the noise of the traffic outside. She's woken up and is beginning to get up.
3 months on the road. I'd made it to Buenos Aires.
There's a fan spinning in a very small room, and she stares over at a doll.
In truth, I was ready to go home.
She begins washing her hands inside of a sink, looks to be her shirt on her hands. And she begins to dry her underpants on outside the window of her hotel room. And on the line, there's 3 of them. They're all white. Now we begin. Is it homework? Cool.
Okay, I'm going to take this. That was excellent.
Thank you.
I'll tell you what I really liked is that. Have you seen the film before?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't seen this yet.
What you were doing there is you were moving with the film. Your vocals were actually merging quite nicely with the style of that film, and that's what I really like. You know, instead of a dry voice, her voice was that kind of, you know, she's and you were doing the same thing. So you just got this language happening between actor and audio describer. So thank you very much. That was great.
Nice. Thank you. It was fun.
Thank you.
One more volunteer?
One more? Who else? Come on.
See, we've been nice.
Come
Come on.
You know you want to. Yeah!
It's all going to end in tears. I apologise, Zell. I apologise, Tony.
No, don't
Let's go live.
All right.
God, we've got some brave people.
I know.
Go. We see a crowded scene with lots and lots of people. People in the shops. There are all sorts of items. They look, I've got no idea what these are. I think they're fruit. She wanders amongst the crowds, looking lost and bewildered. Many people passing her by, not knowing who she is. She looks up, I think. She sees something, she thinks. She looks around the corner, walks toward a crowd of people in a crowded space. There's a dance. Looks like a tango. She walks over inquisitively. Her feet slowly move in unison on the ground. She approaches closer and stares mesmerised. A smile grows across her face as an elderly couple embrace doing a tango. I see. The elderly couple stop and go out to the crowd and look for partners, and they approach her, and with a surprised look on her face, she accepts. I think. No, she doesn't. She steps back, apprehension across her face, as the couple, the old lady who was tangoing before, is dancing with a complete stranger. Is that my minute?
Stop.
It goes on and on. Let's stop there, shall we?
Can we stop?
Oh dear.
That was actually quite fun, but there was a bit of an assumption prediction as to what was going to happen next, which I guess it's normal if you haven't seen the movie before.
Yeah, that's true. She's thinking this, she's thinking that.
I think lots of I thinks, fair enough, if you're not sure. And that's why, to be honest, in order to really audio describe well, you'll have to have watched the movie a couple of times to actually get the real gist of what's going on. Right? I really want to know what's going on in the underwear shop, though. Can we do one more? Can you fast forward to the underwear shop at all?
We'll do.
And we'll do one.
Can you just run it on from there for a minute? Just where it was. It'll be there very quickly.
Okay, can we stop for a minute? Can we get... Does anybody, last person, want to do some audio describing?
How come Katie Elliott is the resident expert and she hasn't done any audio description?
Yeah.
I really love to learn.
Suck it up, princess. Come on.
There's some dialogue in this one too, so just a word of warning.
Where are we going from?
Would you like to, Tanya would love to roll it on for another 2 minutes, and then we get into the shop. Would you be happy to just roll it and let Katie start when she goes into the
Do we know who the couple are? No. Okay.
No.
I think if you don't mind just describing what happens, it's obviously very dissonant, but if you just...
Okay, because I've been over there, so I've had to rely on the audio description. I've missed out on the vision. Okay. A couple dance in the street. This is why I'm a theorist. A woman turns around looking confused. She walks quickly into a shop. I missed the title. And now we're in a street with someone riding a bicycle, and she's walking alone on the footpath. Everything's kind of brown and grey. She might be crying, looking into a shop window. She's looking at some lingerie in the window. It's black. It seems to cheer her up a little. A woman looks out the window, looks stern at first, but then smiles.
Adelante.
Seems encouraging. She goes into the store.
Vení, pasa por acá. Tienes que probártelo.
And they walk around the
Camino.
corner, past a light, into a change room. Close the curtains. She's getting dressed. She walks out of the change room wearing the black lingerie she saw in the shop window, looking at herself in the mirror.
Beautiful.
Not beautiful.
Yes. Beautiful.
She turns from side to side. Goes back to the change room. Is doing her hair. And she's wearing grey underpants. They've got holes in them, look very practical. She now appears to be buying the black lingerie she tried on earlier and some white underwear of the same practical variety.
¿Sí, gracias? No, gracias.
What do you mean by no?
It's for you?
Yeah.
No. Estas son de viejas, no old lady.
Oh, sorry, she's dead.
She's getting a little absorbed in the film here, folks. You know?
Got to be
Okay, she's got it.
Good
it
for
looks
you.
Yeah, no,
to be
bad
like some
for me.
kind of
These are
string
really
underwear.
bad for me. Mallow me. Yeah, just these. Good, thank you.
The shop
I want to buy
assistant
these.
throws the practical underwear
bueno, puedes usar
away.
estas bombachas con este vestido porque esto no pega. O sea, si vos usas esto te arruinás el efecto.
Effecto what? Effecto. I'm.
Just try it.
She holds up the string underwear again.
They're my undies, okay? I buy them, I wear them. No one's going to see them except me.
Notice the shop assistant has an understanding look and sort of nods her head to one side, puts away the sexy undies. Okay, she looks dejected. Maybe she's changing her mind. She's picking something up off the floor. Some other undies that look exactly the same. Shop assistant shakes her head no. Now we're looking through some lace underwear. Seems like we're getting closer. Look at the string undies now. See-through lace underwear. Red
with little black bows on them, white lace G-strings, orange underwear, polka dot, black and pink.
No, look, no,
They
no,
disagree.
no.
Each
No.
holding up different types of more attractive looking underwear. Satin red.
Okay, not bad.
The shop assistant nods her head, and our character smiles and looks pleased with herself. She's walking out the store now with a bag. She's at a washing line where there are those grey and white practical underwear pegged up. She starts taking them off with kind of a smile on her face, throws them down into the garbage with a smile. Looks out at a woman hanging up sheets. They give each other a bit of a knowing look. She seems to want to hang on to her undies now, though.
Anybody else want to jump in just quickly? Come on.
Come on, we've got to finish this film.
So, what's happening? She's now looking at 2 pairs of underwear, and now she's looking at the what's that? Holy Mary statuette. She's thinking. Now it's nighttime in Buenos Aires, and here's some musicians on the streets. It's a few hours later. Footsteps on the cobbles. Somebody's dressed up. Who is it? We can only see her feet. Oh, there's somebody dancing nearby. It's a nice old couple who are very much in love. They're dancing the tango. Oh, the crowd parts, and here she is. It's our hero. And she's wearing a kind of vest top, lacy vest top, and she's got her hair done up, and the old man is inviting her in to the dancing circle, and now they're dancing together, the old guy and the woman. She's a lot more confident now. And they dance, and she's dancing very well. And now she's changed partners, and she's with a younger guy with longish shoulder-length black hair, and they're dancing, and he's kind of an expert dancer, maybe. And she's getting more and more into the dancing. Oh, now there's a dip. Whoa, that was fun.
Now if I ever
Her hair's,
fall alone.
her hair's on her face. Oh, now people are dancing around her. She's really got the party going.
My secret weapon.
Wow, and now
take
we're
on
just
the
kind of moving back and watching the dancing. Oh, there's a glimpse, there's a little flash of underwear. And the end.
Excellent.
Well done.
That was well done. That was under pressure, guys. I love that. An evening in Buenos Aires.
Sorry, Tanya.
Yes, so that was great. Thanks, Katie and Tom. We did spring that one on you, Katie, for a very long time.
That's right.
You did very well. And Tom, thanks for stepping in and
saving her bacon, yes.
But also not giving me another airplane experience where I have to go, oh, what happened again in this movie? So
yes, thank you to everybody, actually. That was a really, really good experience.
I'm just curious, what do you people in the audience, what did you think?
I thought it was great. And for me, it enhanced the actual experience.
Can someone give the microphone? Sorry.
Microphone's coming. Sorry. Thank you.
I was just saying, for me, it enhanced the experience of watching the movie, actually hearing the audio description going alongside it.
even though, you know, there was dips and breaks and things because people were doing it on the fly, which is just amazing. But just for me as an audience member watching that movie, it meant that the movie was much more interesting.
That's great. Who thought it was complimentary to the movie? Yeah? Who thought it was annoying? Some people think it's annoying. And I'm sure if you do think it's annoying, you probably won't put your hand up now, but...
Only when they talked over the dialogue.
Oh, hang on. We won't see it, so you can put your
Hang on, someone did say something? Someone did say only when they speak over the dialogue, and yeah, that's, you know, we forgive you guys. It's only...
Miss Rice,
sorry, Jerry?
So Del and Tony, I just had a question. I noticed a lot of us were describing the emotions that we were interpreting in the scene. You know, she looks sad or annoyed or whatever. And there's some disagreement about whether that's the way to go with audio description, and I wondered what you thought of that approach.
You've got the mic. Personally, I like it. I like to have an understanding of what's going on in, you know, what the facial expression is telling me, because if I don't know what's happening. I don't, you know, she's sitting there and she's got a condescending look on her face. She's got a you know, shit-eating grin, whatever. It's these are that's exactly what it is. That's the official description, you know. I just remember one particular audio describer, and it was this kid, and she's like, and the chubby child, and it just nailed it. You know, the whole film was this. They didn't have a name. It was just the chubby child, you know. And but yes, as much I like to have that.
I agree. Yep, you too. Yeah, I agree. That's it. Okay, Julie,
hi, it's Julia here. I noticed that Tom's descriptions of the dress at the end and what she was wearing were inaccurate in terms of terminology, which it was not a vest. But you know, that probably speaks well of him. But would you say, in general, audio description should have people who have some research on any technical things or names of clothes or details like that should be accurate, or does it tend to not matter so much?
I don't think, well, yeah. It might be a part of the film. I don't know. I think, you know, a dress, if you said a dress, to me, that will make more sense. But if you probably said something else and I didn't know what that was, I think that might have been a bit confusing. Unless you said something like, you know, wearing a tango costume or something. You know, I don't know. Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, it depends. You know, if it's like strutting her stuff, wearing a pair of Jimmy Choos, you know, it adds, especially if you've got some sense of what's actually of the language. If it's of common sense discourse, then you can work with that. If it's totally unrelated, then no, you need to be able to just express how that looks. You know, how that feels. As much knowledge as you can get as an audio describer is important. You know, you need to be able to sort of do your research, but you still then have to tailor it to your film. You don't want to overload your audience with descriptions of, you know, every fashion detail, unless, of course, it does tell something within the narrative. If the narrative is important, that she's strutting her stuff down a street with her wearing a pair of Jimmy Choos, then you've got to say that, because that's what is important. She could be addicted to Jimmy, you know, whatever. and so yeah, you've got to, as a describer, you've got to have that sense of when it's appropriate to go into detail and when it's not.
Yeah, hi, Tony Zell, it's Jerry. Somebody mentioned that in some cases there was some audio description that was happening over the top of dialogue, and I think we understand that we shouldn't be doing that. Is it only dialogue? Is dialogue the only concern? Is it not okay to audio describe over anything else that's happening?
Do you want to have a go at that?
Do you want to take that? Take it. 'Cause you've got
Okay,
the mic.
okay, I'll take it. Yeah, actually, you're actually right. There are certain sound effects, there's soundscaping. Someone's spent a lot of time at sound engineering your average film. And potential pieces of music that are driving the story along. So you've got to do your best to actually try not to compete with something that's overly... That's the problem with modern films as well. You get some really hardcore sounds. The music is intense, and it's especially the Americans, and they throw out they throw out everything at you with the music and the sound effects, and the audio describer is just like, trying to actually compete with this, and it's actually really, really difficult. So you've got to find those moments that is best suited for your purpose. Sometimes you have no choice. It's like dialogue. Sometimes you have no choice to audio, especially when you're doing it in a situation like now, when you're doing it live. But it's you analyse, you study, you try to make the best for your audience as well as for your film.
I think it's easier in film because you might be able to edit the audio description into the sound scheme and kind of around the dialogue. You might be able to fade it down. You could put some silences in there. So, and it's important too when you're making the movie to sometimes leave some room for audio description. But yeah, when you're audio describing live, it is a lot more challenging. And sometimes you do... Well, one way around not talking in the dialogue is a preamble. Before we start the whole show, we go in quite early, maybe half an hour earlier. We get a preamble. We're told that it's a lot of dialogue and it might be difficult at times, so there's a bit of a description of the scene to let us know what's going on, like a preparing us for what's to come, so that when the scene does occur, they don't have to spend too much time audio describing. It doesn't apply to other languages. So if someone is speaking in another language in the movie, whether it's a movie or theatre, if it's not transcribed, if there's no English subtitles, it's perfectly okay to speak over a foreign language.
Yeah, so Ben Long from Tiny. So it's just occurred to me that there might be another use case here that I don't think has been mentioned, apologies if it has, for audio description with sighted children who are learning the complexities and nuances of our behaviours that we, and our communication, non-verbal communication, yeah. Which also reminds me of the narrator in Peppa Pig, who is designed specifically for that reason, to help add more context to the non-verbal communication that's going on, for both an engagement, I believe, purpose, but also an educational purpose. And I'd actually almost be willing to bet that Peppa Pig might not even need audio description because of that narrator.
Never seen it. And I'm not taking the piss there, but actually, you were making me think of things like Play School and Sesame Street. There's a lot of what might seem redundant descriptions. Here we have an A, and here we have a B, and it's a form of audio. It is a form of audio description, but it is that using language and vision and trying to teach. Oddly enough, when I was at the other film festival in Melbourne a few years ago, I met a chap with aphasia. He'd had a stroke, and he ended up with aphasia. So he had this issue with dissonance between language and the visual image. And I introduced him to audio description. So he found that really, really fascinating, because he would see something, but it wouldn't resonate. He wouldn't know what it was. And he'd actually have to say tree verbally to understand what a tree looks like, because he could see it but he wouldn't understand it. And so I introduced, put a set of headphones on him and said, "Okay, try this." And so all the way through this film he's watching, and it's just, he's getting it. If nothing else, he was getting concepts and visual concepts with the audio description. So yeah, it certainly has a lot to offer a lot of different people, more than just the blind.
Okay, last call for any questions. Oh, one more, just one moment, right up the back.
Thank you both. I don't know, so I'm asking, is there any benefit in channels of audio? Left does this, right does that?
Your turn.
Does the question come across okay?
I think you have to be very careful there that you don't confuse the people that are listening to your audio description. I think left and right, left does this, right does that, is better in the kind of soundscaping, but not really in audio description. I haven't experienced it, but I do worry about, when you're trying to, you don't, whether you actually really need it or not.
Good enough for me, thank you.
It'll just be too confusing where you just want to know the action. You don't need action while you're trying to find out what the action is. There's already action going on. You don't need any more. So you've already got the sound of the film in the background. You don't want left and right ears for this and that kind of sound as well. Yeah.
Also, you got to remember that we're living in an era not only of stereo but of Dolby surround sound, and we gain a lot of perspectives on what's actually happening on the film in terms of where things are. All you really need to be doing is giving the descriptions of what's actually happening, and allow the soundscape to give you the orientation of where things are left, right, up, down. Because especially nowadays of surround sound, it's a form of audio description in and of itself. It's just sound description. So if that helps.
Yeah, I'll add to that. Yeah, that was what I was talking about earlier. Audio spatialization and three-dimensional audio, where you know where the placement of audio is, rather than just having the left and right. That it gives you the whole immersive experience of watching the movie. That's just an add-on experience.
Alrighty.
Okay.
So have we finished?
I'm just going to thank everyone. Go for it. Okay. So this is a really enjoyable panel, I think, and we learned a lot about audio description, and I think also about what we still need to do. I think we're at a really exciting point in terms of audio description in Australia right now. And I really always think about what Tony said earlier in the panel, and that is people don't understand audio description because it's not something that's really available every day. So once we do have it on TV and more kind of general people in the community come to understand what it is, I think we'll see improvements. So I really want to thank the panel members and also Screen West for putting this together, and all of you for showing up, and assure you that my group at Curtin will be working on this during this year, looking at audio description as a creative part of the production process, which I understand that's something Tony's looking at too, and also the different groups of people, such as people with autism, who might benefit from audio description, and how we can use this amazing tool in all sorts of different ways. And Simone and I were just talking before, Screen West are really keen to develop policy in this area, so this panel is really just the beginning, I think. So follow us, because we'd love to speak with all of you more, and I think keep an eye on what Jerry's doing at the ABC, because this will be very exciting. Okay.
And just as a last word, we have the Perth Festival and the Fringe Festival running in Perth now. So you've come at a very good time. There's a show tonight. I can't guarantee you there are tickets still available. The show starts at 7:45, 7:15, 8:15, I believe.
Just show up.
I'll get it right eventually. It is audio described, so if you...
Do I hear a 9:15?
Just go.
Well, no. The confusion is we've been told to come in at 7:45 to get ready with our audio description and so on. So it starts at 8:15. It's for an hour. It's called Fairy Fails. So I think it's a bit of a send-off on fairy tales. And there's also one tomorrow called Anthem. And I think that one starts at 7 and finishes at about 9 or something like that. Anyway. Yep. So that's also going to be audio described. So if you want to have an experience of what an audio described, how it all works, and you buy a ticket, let me know if you do want the audio described experience, because you'll have to download an app on your phone for it. And it only works, I think it only works on an iPhone, but don't quote me, I'm not sure.
What's the app?
But don't quote me. If you are interested, see me after.
So I'm not sure about the Fringe show, which is tonight, but Anthem tomorrow night. You can find out about that on the Perth Festival website. And tonight's show sounds to me like a Fringe show, and that should be on their website. Or Jackie Kuhoma may have those details from data.
You can book it online. Just Google Perth Fringe 2020.
Okay.
You should be able to. If there's tickets, you'll be able to book it. You have to book it online, actually.
All right.
Okay. So join me in thanking the panel and Screen West for the commitment in this area.
Thank you, guys.